Paramatmane Om. Now we have seen that the need to master the mind was also emphasized, and even the means through which the mind can be mastered were told to you, which were four in number. Now he says, now taking you a little further, he says, प्राणस्पंदवासनयोः चित्तप्रेरकत्वात् तयोर्निरोधे चित्तशान्तिः उपपद्यते. The mind will be pacified, will come to be in a state of peace. It will be pacified. How? If the if the pranaspanda, the breath, is controlled, the movement of the breath is controlled, and when one is able to give up the desires. And it's not a very difficult thing, as much as you think, or you may even think it is impossible, but this is not true. You know, you will keep on desiring something as long as you are going to see a promise of happiness in it. But when you discover that this object or a person is not capable of giving me the happiness that I want, you are disinterested from it, isn't it? You will be withdrawn. And therefore, when we are saying that, well, there is happiness in these objects, is a value that you have given to it. It is not a value, intrinsic value of that object. Otherwise, just think about those objects which a housefly finds interesting. If that housefly finds the cow dung interesting, and it goes and sits on it because it says, "Oh wow, fresh, nice, warm." There I go. It goes and sits. Why? Because for the housefly, it is a source of happiness. But is the same object the source of happiness to you? No. So you see that what we are saying is as a happiness as an intrinsic source, I mean, as an intrinsic value of that object is not true. It is a value which is, yes, it is a value given by you. And when you give value to something and it becomes important in your life, then you say, how can I be without it? Hey, you see, the fact is that you are independent. You are independent to be happy. You are independent to be peaceful. But what has snatched away your happiness and what has taken away your peace is your own foolishness of attaching this value to objects. And as long as then you are going to see that value of happiness in the object becomes an object of your desire. So now he says that there are two things to be, when you want to master the mind, there are two things to be seen, controlled. One is the control of the breath. Breath means inhalation, exhalation is all that you have. But this inhalation and exhalation is a great spiritual means. It is a very, very important thing, because all your physiological, psychological functions also to a great extent are dependent on your breath, isn't it? You must have heard it from teachers who have taught to you or spoken to you about pranayama before. Okay? In pranayama, prana means this vital breath. air. So when air is brought inside, it enlivens the body and carries on all the functions, physiological functions. And therefore, it is called as an enlivening force, as the prana, enlivening force. So you have seen when you are excited or angry, what is the rhythm of your breath, isn't it? When you are angry or agitated, your breath is also agitated and irregular. When you are at peace, your breath is more, what do they call, uh, harmonious. Now you have understood some very important principle that when mind is agitated, the breath is also agitated. Now, if you want to reverse the process, you can do it. And that means when your mind is agitated, if you are able to pacify the breath, the mind will be pacified. Do you see what an important tool you have at your disposal? It is something very, it lies with you. It is not to be purchased from outside or somebody has to gift it to you. You have this. So, so now this prana spanda nirod, how that movement of the breath has to be brought to to stillness. And that stillness of the breath is not that of a dead body, because a dead body is also not breathing. There is stillness, though there is air in the lungs, and perhaps more air is also entering so that the body becomes bloated. But that is not called breathing, and that is not the stillness which we mean. So there is a meaning to this word when we are saying the stillness of the breath, and it needs to be seen. So there are these two things to pacify the mind. What do you require? The stillness of the breath and the giving renunciation of desires. Okay? Vasana tyaga. Now he says, these are two. Which two? The vasana, meaning the desires, and the breath are the two sides of a seed. If you have seen those seeds which are dichotomized, dichotomy is there in a seed, certain seed, not in rice, etc., but in lentils you will see, isn't it? That there are two parts. Like that, these are the two parts of a seed. Which seed is this? It is the seed of a tree. What tree is it? Mind. So chitta vrikshasya dve bija. These are the two seeds of that is what they call the chitta vriksha, the tree of a mind. And then vritti vratadharan dharinaha ekam prana parispando ditiyam dridavasana. One is called as the breath, the movement of the breath, and the other one is called as the deep rooted desires. Okay, they are deeply rooted. Don't think that you can just easily plug them and throw that out. No, it is controlling your actions, it is controlling your subconscious, unconscious, everything. And that's why they are deeply rooted. So we have to work on both. And so sati sarvagata samvit pranaspande na bodhyate samvedana danantani tato dukkhani chetana. So now these are the two things which we have to see. Okay. द्वे बीजे चित्तवृक्षस्य प्राणस्पन्दनवासने एकस्मिंश्च तयो क्षीणे क्षिप्रं द्वे अपि नश्यतः even if you are able to bring one, whether it is the breath or even giving up of the desires, either of that is accomplished in your life, then both of these will go away. If you are able to master the stillness of breath, your desires will also gradually go away. But you have to first appreciate this fact that these desires is something that is the cause of sorrow. As long as you are going to see desire as the cause of your happiness, you will never agree to this, isn't it? So, oh, Sanjay, what are you saying? Prabji? I like ice cream, I like chicken, and that's why, unless and until a bird dies, how can I be happy? Unless and until that bird dies, sits in our oven, gets baked, and then gets roasted, and then sits in my plate, how can I be happy? How can you be happy? So, in order for you to be happy, the bird has to die. This is our basic thing. You look at that. Anyway, so ekasmin stayo kshine kshipram veapi nashyatah. So both, I have told this thing several times before, and I'm going to say this even 1,000 times if it is required. You know, there is a person in whose eyes some grain of a sand has gone, very small particle of sand has gone. And then he rubs and he becomes very agitated and very disturbed. And finally, somehow, Ravi, that thing comes out. And now what does he feel? Ah, what a relief, what great feeling. Now, next day he wants to feel great. What should he do? Put some sand in the eyes, rub it, take it out. That is what he should do to feel good. Now you are laughing at this, but this is our state. When a desire enters your bosom, in your heart, you are agitated to get that desire fulfilled. Why? Because you want to throw that desire out of your system. Once that desire is gone, there is a relief. But then what are you saying? That it was because of the desire that I am happy. It is like the person who is saying it is because of that sand that I am feeling good. The sand did not make you feel good. The sand had was the cause of your disturbance. So look at that. What is really disturbing your peace? Unless and until you are really able to spot your enemy, what is it that you need to remove? You will never be able to do anything. And as long as you are going to see an enemy as a friend, why will you want to get rid of it? So thus vasana parityaga, one thing, and prana spanda nirodhanam. These are the two things. They have to be seen. So now he says, Tayor nashopayam nashpanancha. We are going to talk to you of two things. One is nashopayam, that how both of these can be subdued. A. And what is the other topic that you are going to see today? Is that what is the result when it is subdued? Both of these are subdued. Which both? The breath, the stillness of the breath is there, and when the desire is given up. Okay? When both of these is, what is the result? Upayam and halam is seen. प्राणायाम दृढ़ाभ्यासैः युक्त्या च गुरुदत्तया आसनाशनयोगेन प्राणस्पन्दो निरुध्यते. Now look, in order to bring the stillness of the breath, now stillness of the breath, just don't think that, I'm good. That is not going to happen. There is a proper way to do it. It is a system. And unless and until you bring that system into you, you cannot do that, isn't it? So when you see that there is Even to enter into an asana, there is a system or not. You are doing the asanas with Jaya. There is a system or not. How do you enter? Then, you have to observe that which muscles have to move, which part of the body has to bend, which part of the body has to be lifted, and then you are able to go into that asana. Okay. I will tell you one more thing. Those who are practicing asanas. In your asana practice, how do you know that you have entered into a proper asana? That it is, what do they call it? To the optimum. How do you know? Minaji, how do you? Okay. How do you? All these signs plus one more I'm going to tell you. Huh? You know what will happen is the navel lock will take place. Uddiyana Bandh. You know what is Uddiyana Bandh? Our body has these three locks. One which is in the anal region, then the second one is in the navel region. Right behind your navel, you will feel, if you pull it in your stomach, you will feel there is the muscles over there are locking. This is the navel lock. And then there is one here, it is called as the Jalandhara Bandh. So in these three locks, one of the lock is bound to take place, and mostly if it is this naval lock, that will take place. So now we are going to see this prana. So even when you sit straight, you will know that you're sitting straight is good or not. That these two lower two locks will easily take place. So that is how you know that your spine and your body is now in proper balance posture. Anyways, so this is just one observation I'm giving. It's not written here. So how do you bring these two to your life? The pranaspanda nirodha and vasana tyaga. So now their upaya means the way in which it can be brought is being told. Listen to this. Pranayama dridhabhyasihi. One. Note it down all because the practice of pranayama. And how should this practice be? It should be a strong practice. So this practice, which means that it requires commitment, which means it requires commitment, it requires consistency. You don't have to treat this as some sort of a fad. Okay? It is not a fad. It is a commitment. So pranayama dridhabhyasa, one. Yuktyacha gurudatyaya. Now, there will be certain things which will be told by your guru to you, what is to be done. Just as I told you presently, there is one yukti that how do you understand that the asana is properly done now? Because it allows you to have the lock band. So there are other yuktis, ways, intelligent ways, they are given by your guru, told by your guru. And it should be done under the supervision of guru. So Guru Dattaya. Then the third thing is asana. Asana yoga. What is it? Asana means the 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 various asanas that you are practicing. That yoga, and also the ashana. Ashana means the food. By these things, how many things now you have? One is the practice of pranayama. Then there are the ways, certain ways that are given to you, practices which are given to you specifically to you by your guru. Following that, this is the second one. The third one is asana, practice of asanas. And the fourth one is you have to be very alert in seeing what food you are eating, how much you are eating, when you are eating, and all these things. Asana, asana yoga. Prana spando nirudhyate. This is how the stillness of the breath will be brought. Okay? Four. Now, this is what we are going to see today more. Then, though we are going to see that, yet a little more about the second thing, which is the giving up of renunciation of desire part also. We have to see. असङ्गव्यवहारित्वात् भवभावनिवर्जनात् शरीरनाशदर्श्यत्वात् वासना न प्रवर्तते. Okay, what happens is asanga vyavaharitva, that you should be able to transact in the world with some non-attachment. You have to create a space. Asanga vyavaharitva. Create that space. Because if the space is not going to be there, then there is nothing to buffer. So this space is a buffering space, and that is the the attitude of non-attachment. Asanga vyavaharitvat bhavabhavana varshanan, and also by giving up the worldly ways. Don't live your life by the standards set by the world. Oh, what will people say? What will people say? People are bound to say whatever they want. And if you are going to dance to the tune that the people are set for, to you, then you are a puppet. You will never be at peace. Isn't it? People will just use you like a doll the way they want it through. Because you are an entertainment people. You have nothing else. There is no more value than this entertainment. Your life is important to you, and so now you have to have certain values by which you are going to live your life, not as dictated by, created by somebody, and worldly, moreover. Oh, if I don't wear this kind of dress, what people will think? So let them think what they want. Yeah, I'll tell you something very interesting on a personal level. This is all getting recorded yet. You know what? My mother just passed away this January, in this January. Okay. So we are in October, so just about 9 months ago. And she was one very strong woman. Even when, we were on the airport and all, she would wear her nightgowns or whatever she had to wear, and she will be there. Once I told her, okay, what? जरा ढंग के कपड़े पहना करो. When she said, for what? I said, look, people are looking. She said that I am also looking at people. Are they changing clothes for me? I have my own son. I said, perfect. That was perfect. Wear what you want. Well, even when we are flying international, should be just like this. You see, Bhavabhavana Varshana, these worldly thoughts and worldly things, don't keep these standards. Keep your spiritual standards to live. And so, Sharira Nasha Darshitvad, the third thing which is important when it comes to giving up of vasanas, giving up of desires is pay attention that this body of yours or any other thing is in a constant process of destruction, of decay. The more time you lose, the more ability you lose to make any spiritual progress. You have limited time. You see, now you have to determine to what you are going to give your time to. So, Sharira Nasha Darshitva. Okay. What are the three things because of which the vasanas will be loosened and eventually will be given up? What are those three things? Asanga Vyavahar, Bhavavana Varshanam, and Sharira Nasha Darshitvam. These are the three things. Got it? What are the four things with which the prana spanda is brought under control? The movement of the pranas is brought under control. What are the four things? You remember? Yes. Then hmm, Ashana Yoga, Asana Yoga, Ashana Yoga, and Guru Datta. The Yukti. Yukti will be given. Ah, so now, ah, I'm going to talk to you now about the Asana Ashana Yoga, the posture, the asanas which you are practicing and learning presently, and also the yoga in which the food, because food is what is sustaining your body, creating even the mind and the patterns. So it is important to pay attention to the food too. So it is not fancy food, but the food which is going to be helpful to you in making a spiritual progress. आ- आसनाशनयोगेन इति यदुक्तं तत्र आसनस्य लक्षणम् उपायं फलं च त्रिभिः सूत्रैः पतञ्जलिः सूत्रयामास. So now over here, that in those aphorisms of yoga, you people are studying, right? Somewhere you have heard of it, Yoga Sutras and all that, and they are written by sage Patanjali. Now he gives that there are three sutras, and what is the topic of each sutra. In the first sutra, you are in the entire body. In the second chapter, sutra number 46, 47, and 48. Hmm? 46, 47, 48. These three sutras. The 47th sutra, 46th sutra is going to tell you what is the characteristic, distinguishing characteristic of asana. Okay, what you are learning, practicing presently. What is the distinguishing characteristic? It means what is the lakshana of asana. You just doing something and what do they call? some sort of a gymnastic is not called as asana. According to the sage Patanjali, who gives you this whole body of yoga. He doesn't want to see an acrobatic thing to be created. He doesn't want you to be employed in a circus. Ah, he wants to see that there is an enlightened person, not an acrobat who can find employment in a circus. I mean, I'm not against it. If somebody can do it, very good. Please go ahead and do it. That's your talent. So please remember this. This is so what the first sutra, 46th sutra, is going to tell you about what is the lakshana. Lakshana means distinguishing characteristic by which you understand this is what is called as asana. Mhm. So 46. The 47th sutra is going to tell you what is the upaya, the means through which that posture or the asana is going to be accomplished. Upaya. And then the 48th sutra is going to tell you that once when this asana, this posture is mastered or accomplished, what result will it bring? Now, how do you know that you have really mastered that posture? No. How do you know that you have mastered? The thing is that you should see this result. You should see whether that result is manifesting in your life or not. And therefore, there are these three sutras dedicated to the practice of asanas. So, asana yoga is here. Okay. So, how many asanas you are able to do? You can't. No. Ask the sage, and he will say, if this is what is accomplished in your life, your asana practice is successful. And if you are not able to, if this is not what has manifested, no matter how good you are in twisting the body, it is you have not mastered the asana yoga. Okay. So that's why this is important. So look at this. What is the characteristic? And that is asana means sthira sukham asanam. This is your definition of asana. Just that much he says. Sthira sukham asanam, where the posture is steady and also there is no discomfort. Sukham is there. Which means you just see, when do you pay attention to any body part? Only when there is some problem with it, then only it demands constant attention. Let us say you have all 32 teeth in your mouth. And how many times you keep doing this to your teeth through the day? But one day let there be little toothache and you're sitting. When has that tooth started demanding attention? When there was something wrong with it. You see? So you have knees in your legs. But when will you give attention to it? When it starts hurting. Till then, you have really not thought, oh, I have got knees here. Isn't it? So, similarly, your body does not demand attention. It is a machinery system that is working by itself. But if you have to pay attention to the body all the time, my hair, my nose, my eyelid, my this. That means something is wrong. Something is wrong. This asana practice means now the mind is lifted away from the body because the body is it is a system that is functioning by itself. It is on autopilot. Digestion is happening properly. Your respiration is happening properly. The blood circulation is happening properly. Now it doesn't demand attention. शरीर की ओर ध्यान नहीं जाता। अगर बार बार जा रहा है तो इसका मतलब यह है कि कुछ न कुछ गड़बड़ है। There is something wrong there if you have to pay attention to the body all the time. Okay, so sthira sukham asanam. This is the first sutra. The sutra which tells you about the means of accomplishing this stiram, the asanam, which will be posture, which will be steady and comfortable. Prayatna shaithilya ananta samapatti. Two things. One is called as prayatna shaithilya. The let me see how it what word. Prayatna shaithilya means there will be loosening of effort. You know, loosening of effort means when something can be easily done, you don't have to really strive for it because it is easily, it becomes easy. There is no struggle, there is no strife, there's easiness. So, asana is to be understood that how it will be when there is easiness. Now, what do you mean by that easiness and where is it seen? We will think about it. We will make it clear. But there is prayatna shaitya, and the other one is it is sort of a meditation to be done. Meditation means just simple. In the beginning, you just simply think about it and then go ahead. So that a brief meditation. It is what a brief meditation. What kind of a brief meditation for a minute or so, and then you go ahead. That is for that is the means. Then, as a result of these two things, which are employed by you, which two? Prayatna Shaithilya and Ananta Samapatti. A brief meditation, I'll tell you before we go to the next topic. That brief meditation is meditation on that what is infinite. But how is it? How can we meditate on the infinite, Ramesh? I'll tell you. There is a way of doing it. There is a way of doing it. By that, what will happen? Your asana practice or your asana will be accomplished. When the asana is accomplished, what will happen in your life? It has to reflect. The accomplishment has to reflect, means it has to give result. And that result is tato dvandvana that you will not be struck by the polarities of life. Polarities means any kind of pairs of opposites, heat and cold, appreciation and insult, mana, apman, shita, ushna. Huh? Sukha dukkha. You know, you going into the swings, delighted, and then depressed, up and down. These things will not be there. Your heart will not be knocked. It will not be struck by the pairs of opposites. That means you will be able to take life in your stride. Events and people will not be able to take you for a ride. You will take everything in your stride. Your balance will not be lost. And this will come with the accomplishment of posture. So you see how important it is. Tato dvandva nabhigata. By this, dvandvas means the dualities, these pairs of opposites, do not strike the person. So you have to see a little more of, of all these three sutras. And we have about 10 more minutes, and I will try to wind up this topic now. Okay. पद्मक स्वस्तिकादिना यादृशेन देहस्थापनरूपेण यस्य पुरुषस्य अवयवव्यवस्था अवयवव्यथानुत्पत्तिलक्षणं सुखं स्वदेह चलनराहित्यलक्षणं स्थैर्यं च सम्पद्यते तस्य तदेव सुखमासनम्. Any posture, whether it is that, the lotus posture or sukhasana or swastikasana or as I'm taking these names, you can relate to them, right? Or siddhasana, huh? Cross leg. All these are postures. Okay. Oh, you have not done anything before. No, don't worry. You will soon get used to this terminology also. Then, when a person sits, what do you mean by he should be comfortable? It means that there is no discomfort in the arrangement of the limbs that is made. So when you sit, let us say a cross-leg position, it is an arrangement of limbs. Your hands and legs are arranged, your spine is arranged, your head is held like that, straight. So this is an arrangement of various limbs of the body. In this arrangement, the absence of discomfort in this arrangement is what is called as sukham. Okay, this is what is called as sukham. Purushasya avayava vyathanutpatti lakshanam sukham. Padmaka swastikadina yadrishena dehasthapana rupena yasya purushasya avayava vyathanutpatti lakshanam sukham. This is what is meant by sukham over here. And then swadeha chalanarahityam. Have you seen some people, if they sit, they are not able to sit steady. Their knees will be shaking, legs will be shaking, hand will be shaking, or something. So there is no steadiness to it. So the steadiness of the posture, which means there is no movement of the body, and there is no discomfort in the arrangement of the limbs. And that's why we are not going to tell to this specific asana. Whatever asana that your body can enter into, and with these two standards, These are the two parameters that you will apply. One is no vyatha in the avayava sthapana. Okay? No vyatha. The second one is hmm, no movement. Sthiryam. This is what is sthiryam. Swadeha chalanarahityam. Deha chalanarahityam. That any kind of, you know, will not be there. Then you understand that the asana is, this is the asana in which, and then when this is there, you can stay in that posture for a long time. For long time. So we have to stay in Shirshasana for 30 minutes. Huh? So that what happens is the question. Whether you stay in Shirshasana for 30 minutes or 30 days, what will happen by that? That you are treating it as some sort of an achievement to display as you have some personal prowess. So what happens is my question. The whole world is standing on the feet and now you're standing on the head. Hmm? Somebody asked, if earth is round, then are people in Australia standing on the head? Down below. Ah, you people are from Australia. How do you walk? South hemisphere. Anyways, so this is it. That you are comfortable in a posture. Why this posture? Because once you have entered into this posture, now you can employ your energy for meditation. Now your energy is not directed in just managing the body. If your energy is constantly directed in managing the body, that means there is something pathological about it. Like pain in some part will only keep you occupied with it. You have tongue in your mouth, but you don't think about it so much. As children, you noticed that when our milk teeth fall, we have that fun of putting the tongue there and playing. It is demanding attention. Like that, the body will not demand attention if it is, because it is a system, if it is in properly functioning. Tasya, now, prayatna shaithilyam laukika upaya. Now, there are two types, there are two ways, two means through which the asana will be accomplished. One is called as the local, the immediate upaya, and the other one is called as alaukika upaya. Means it is some sort of what do they call, means, and I will talk to you about it tomorrow. Tomorrow also we have one more class. Tomorrow is the last day. Today is the last. tomorrow in the morning, no class in the morning, your schedule does not say that. Right. All right. So I think this is all that you want then to have. So the second one is kind of a divine upaya, a way of doing the asana, accomplishing an asana, alaukika upaya. What is it? Look at it. Gamana grahakritya tirthayatra snana homadi vishaye yaprayatno manasa utsaha tasya shaithilyam kartavya. Now you know this, oh, we have to do that, we have to do this, we have to go there, and what will people say? All these things, demand a lot of your interest and energy. Now you are going to say, "Theek hai." As long as the work is done, why get into that? Prayatna shaithilyam. There is a time when you say that, well, parties and all those things. There comes a time when the person feels, oh, we have done that. Now, am I still going to keep on doing the same things or what? So there is this. It is not some sort of your, what do they call, lack of lack. It is actually a lack of interest in that. But it is not because you have become some pessimist person. No, because you have discovered something more in life. And so now your energy and intelligence is directed towards it. Gamana grahakritya tirthayatra sthanam umadi vishaye yap prayatnaha. So this enthusiasm in doing all these things then will become less. Tasya shaithilyam kartavyam. And at kartavyam, it is said with tavya pratyay, which means you have to do it. You will have to withdraw from it. Kartavyam. Anyatha utsaho balateham utthapya yatra kvapi prerayati. Otherwise, that interest will lift you from your practice and throw in some other activity. Okay? Anyatha saprayatnaha sautsaha balateham utthapya. Now you wanted to sit over there and do some meditation. Now that will lift and throw you outside in some sort of an activity, inconsequential, which you are going to say later on, oh, we did, but what the point? No, so this is called as the prayatna shaithilyam, and it is an upaya and it is kartavyam, which means you will have to do it. तव्य प्रत्यय लगा है ना इसमें. That's why. Alaukika upayascha. Now this is another thing. Before you do your asana practice, generally you do a prayer. And what have you ever paid attention to? What is that prayer? Have you paid attention? What are the words of your prayer? Huh? And then anatosmi. Huh? Then sahasra shirsham deham. It describes Patanjali in form of a serpent. You know, how is this serpent? It is with 1,000 hoods. Okay. This serpent in our Indian mythology, Hindu mythology, this serpent is called as Ananta, which means those hoods are just not a number thousand. A thousand means innumerable hoods. This is how you have to simply give it a, you have to think that innumerable hoods. And this serpent with its innumerable hoods supports the earth on its head, like a small jewel on the head, with innumerable. The earth does not roll down and fall. Is ever holding the earth, holding it up. This is what you have. And just as is like that, okay. Now that one who's supporting the entire earth, the burden of the earth on the wood, is me. Just for a minute, you have to just think like that. This becomes the alaukika upaya. Ananta samapatti is the alaukika upaya. One, the prayatna shaitilya is called as laukika upaya. And Ananta samapatti, this meditation on Anantanaga, is called as alaukika upaya. By both these, the asana will be accomplished. As a result, सिद्धे चासने शीतोष्ण सुख दुःख मानापमानादि द्वंद्वैः यथा पूर्वम न अभिहन्यते. Now this yogi is not affected. Now you do not have any control over what other person should tell you. Is it compulsory that he has to talk to you affectionately? No. He has had a bad thing outside. He comes and he throws at you. But does that mean that you are swung into a bad mood because of that? So if you are able to take it without letting any other the situations outside hurt you, strike you, then this is a stability, and this will come effortlessly when asana is accomplished. Okay, so this should become your parameter criteria to understand, kasauti, to understand how is your asana practice going on. So this asana practice is a part of pranayama. What are the four things? Pranayama dridhabhyasa, a committed practice of pranayama. Then those gurudatta yukti, that what is told by your guru, that practice this, do this. Then the asana ashana yoga. By this, the movement of the breath is brought under control. When the breath is brought under control, even the desires will also eventually become weak and feeble. And when the desires are feeble and the mind, the breath is still, now this will become the mastery over the mind. Okay. Okay. So I think I have given you some little idea about how the tradition looks at your practice of asana. Okay. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Thank you all. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू स्वामी जी।
Thank you. संगीता, आज भगवत गीता का जो पाठ है, हम आई विल ट्राई टू स्टार्ट एट 8:30, किंतु और एक 5-10 क्योंकि ये क्लास भी सुबह 6:30 के बदले 6 बजे शुरू हो जाता है ना, आज तक का था,
हाँ जी
ये लोग
सर।
चले जाएंगे
ठीक है
तो।
स्वामी जी।
हाँ, तो वो मेरा दुर्गा पाठ चंडी वगैरह ना पूरी नहीं होती है, तो अभी मैं बैठूंगा, जब पूरा हो जाएगा फुली बाय 8:30 8:45 आई शुड बी एबल टू फिनिश दैट, देन वी विल बिगिन आवर रेगुलर गीता चैंटिंग। ठीक है।
ठीक है सर। हाँ जी
स्वामी जी,
हाँ
स्वामी
हाँ।
जी महादेव, स्वामी जी सॅटरडे मेडिटेशन क्लास आपण ठेवायचा सकाळी?
आज काय आहे वार? बुधवार आहे.
बुधवारी हो.
मग ठेवा ना. नको, सॅटर्डेला तारीख काय आहे ह्या सॅटर्डेला?
सॅटरडेला नवमी आहे, 12 तारीख दसरा आहे, सॉरी दसरा आहे.
नको, लेटस नवरात्र होऊन जाऊ दे.
ओके स्वामी जी, ओके
ओके.
ओके महा
हाँ, क्योंकि लगातार एक तो नवरात्राचे हे सुद्धा आहेत, आणखी भंडारे सुद्धा आहेत.
ओके स्वामी जी, येस.
हाँ.